Mini? Supercar? No, no.
The Mini is no supercar, but it's a lot of fun to drive. And it's fun that you can afford.
The modern Mini Cooper, a non-traditional sports car offering high performance, affordable fun.
Mini is such a fantastic British brand. It's got a lot of heritage and a lot of culture. It's got a lot of history to it.
A quarter of a century ago, the marque nearly fades away.
There was the uncertainty. There was some unrest.
Now, this British icon is riding high thanks to a tightly knit team.
There's a lot of camaraderie. We've worked together with a lot of people for a long time, so you build up that team spirit.
A strong sense of family.
I grew up in Oxford. My granddad worked here in the 50s and 60s. Basically, I'm following suit.
And a unique apprentice program.
We're protecting old school engineering skills.
The result is a beacon of industrial hope.
It just goes to show the fact that we are still a force for manufacturing within the UK.
Confidence that's best expressed in the fastest Mini ever made.
The John Cooper Works edition that we make at the plant here is our supercar.
The modern Mini Cooper, the everyman supercar. It's a car born during a global oil crisis. One of the most influential designs of the 20th century. And a quirky machine that's unapologetically British.
The Mini was born in England, and it's great that it's still produced here.
It's ours, it's quirky, it's got a look. There's a lot of cars out there at the moment that you look at, and you have to see the badge before you know what it is. You see a Mini, you know you're seeing a Mini.
Minis aren't built for statistical bragging rights, but rather smiles per litre.
A fast little turbocharged go-kart, you're pretty high on the thrills per dollar scale.
Few machines offer as much performance in a smaller footprint.
The Mini brand has always been about making a lot of performance from a tiny little package.
Base models start at just €18,000. But if you want a little more bang for your buck, the top-of-the-line John Cooper Works edition clocks in at a very reasonable $32,000.
It's going to surprise people, but the Mini is democratized performance. It's a small, quick, sharp-handling car that's a lot of fun to drive at a reasonable price point.
Ultra-affordable performance paired with a fervently British sensibility.
If you see stereotypical British things, you get the Bulldog, you get the Union flag, and you get a Mini. It's so intrinsically linked, which is nice because every country's got their thing.
Today, the brand sells cars in over 110 countries, and every single one starts the very same way.
It's got a strong brand identity and reaches to every corner of the world. So.
I often look at the destinations of the cars that we build on the line, and it's amazing. One car to America, the next car to China, then a car that goes to France, then Australia, New Zealand.
You look at the build sheets, I mean, Korea, where you think, whoa, I mean, and the sales in China, you think, wow, amazing.
The Mini is a worldwide phenomenon that requires 3 distinct factories to get the job done. At the Swindon pressing plant, they manufacture body panels and sub-assemblies. They build 3- and 4-cylinder engines at Hams Hall in North Warwickshire. And every day they produce 1,000 completed machines at the Oxford assembly plant.
Currently, we're building the 3-door hatch, the 5-door hatch, and the brand new Mini Clubman. In the past, we built up to 5 models on the same line.
In a given year, they manufacture more than 200,000 machines.
So the car has come in from the paint shop, comes in a set sequence. We've already started to fit some of the parts of the car.
Every 68 seconds, there's a car leaving the line. We are working more or less 24/5, so 3 shifts, 5 days a week.
The speed necessitates a lengthy 1.7-kilometer assembly line.
There's 224 stations on the main line, so that's from when it first comes in from the paint shop to our final station.
Nearly 5,000 craftspeople bolt and wrench parts inside a facility that is nearly the size of 100 football pitches.
We're now at harness fit, so this is one of the really complicated parts of our process.
We've got a big thing here, is the oven. We've got 18 harnesses in there, 60 degrees all the time. They're all sequenced in there. We get the harness one by one, we take them out and then we fit them around the car, clip them in, and they're all ready for the people to fix their parts to.
Each harness weighs 20 kilograms and has over 500 clips that have to be snapped into place.
My section is one of the most physically demanding areas because of the harness, because of the bending and because of the thickness of the harness. It is quite a hard area.
There's little downtime thanks to the high station count and the fast cycle times. To keep the line humming along, workers are backed up by another team of associates.
These guys are the Formula One guys. These are the ones that put the cars together. They're the most important parts of our company. I'm here as a support function, so if they've got an issue, any problems, they let me know and I jump in and let them get on with the next bit.
We do our best. All the blokes, we're all basically on the same page most of the time, and we all strive to build the perfect car. And that's what the Mini is. It's becoming the perfect little car. And it's a good job. It's a proud place to work for, isn't it?
The passion here is palpable and historic.
This facility is the oldest mass manufacturer of automotives.
Built in 1913, the Oxford site has produced over 11.5 million cars, spread over 7 different brands.
No, it's historic, it's iconic. We're very proud to work here and work for the name Mini.
Very proud to know that I've been party to the manufacturing of that product.
To be a part of such an iconic thing as the Mini, I think for me it's a great opportunity.
There's so many companies who change the basic formula. Mini hasn't done that. It's still a fun driving car as it was back in the 50s when it was first launched.
The Mini might be a British icon, but its roots take hold thanks to a French diplomat named Ferdinand de Lesseps. He's inspired while reading a book about Napoleon's early attempt to connect the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. It takes 37 years, but in 1869, his dream becomes reality when the Suez Canal opens. The waterway becomes a hub for international trade, and by the early 50s, 2/3 of Europe's oil supply travels through it. However, in 1956, Egypt nationalizes the canal. The act starts a chain reaction that eventually leads to a worldwide oil crisis.
The Mini story starts with actually a fuel crisis, an oil crisis, and a need for vehicles to be fuel efficient and affordable.
In Britain, the government institutes a fuel rationing program that limits motorists to just 4 gallons of petrol per month. The restrictions inspire the British Motor Company, or BMC, to focus on fuel economy. And they ask car designer Sir Alec Isagonis to create a thrifty machine.
BMC came to him and said we need a car due to the Suez crisis in 1956.
The task has a single mandate: fit 4 people comfortably in a car that can't be longer than 10 feet.
He started in his kitchen, I heard, setting up 4 chairs and invited friends and looked how much space do 4 people need, actually.
Most cars at the time offer rear-wheel drive and use an engine that's longitudinally mounted. Isagonis's inspiration is to spin the engine 90 degrees.
His best move was to turn the engine transverse. That's a principle which is set, I think, for small and compact cars till today. It's kind of a really genius construction principle.
Next, Isagonis decides to make his car front-wheel drive. Finally, he engineers a compact transmission that fits beneath the engine, not behind it. Isagonis's entire drivetrain occupies just 2 feet of the new machine and allows the remaining 80% of the space to be dedicated to passengers.
As it turns out, he also designed a car that was a lot of fun to drive. And people started figuring that out pretty quick. These things handle pretty good. They were a lot of fun.
In 1959, the British Motor Company launches the Mini, a 2-door, 4-cylinder car featuring a monocoque shell. Initially, the machine is offered with a 34-horsepower engine, but gets a whopping 36 miles to the gallon. Heady fuel efficiency numbers even today. Yet it's what happens next that helps coin the term hot hatch. Just 2 years after its introduction, the Mini's unique design characteristics, remarkable handling, and fun-filled driving experience captivate Britain.
Alex Isagonis, he was trying to make a compact and affordable little run-around family car. Needed as much space as possible, but also be compact enough to fit in little tight spaces, park in cities. As it turned out, in the way he designed the car, it actually goes around a corner really well. And people figured this out really quickly.
Among those people is Formula One team owner John Cooper.
John Cooper actually was a constructor who was working for Formula One, and he was a friend of Alex Isagonis. He recognized the potential of the Mini.
In 1961, Cooper bores out the standard car's engine, fits twin carburetors, disc brakes, and a racing-derived close-ratio gearbox. The result is the Mini Cooper, a race car for the everyman.
If you give man something motorized, they will find a way to race it. That's kind of how it works. And that's true for bar stools, and that's true for motorcycles, and it's true for the Mini.
By the late 70s, the brand sells over 4 million machines.
John Cooper was a racing driver who raced Minis and who also hot-rodded them up. The company owes a bit of their popularity to his racing success.
Today, hot-rodded compact 3- and 5-door machines are called hot hatches, a term that John Cooper helped originate, and one benefiting the current top-of-the-line Mini JCW.
JCW stands for John Cooper Works, and that's an homage to John Cooper, who raced the first Minis.
This is a brand that, you know, for its humble origins, for being a cute car, actually has a lot of performance behind it.
Supercar, super performance, but it's affordable to everybody. Leaving the plant, I see so many of these cars where people, you can see a big smile on their face just driving them.
The JCW is fun to whip around a track, but it begins just like every other machine at the Swindon pressing plant.
We're in the blanking area of the press shop at Swindon. This is sort of the initial step of the process. We take coiled steel, which you can see here behind me, and we sort of unwind that into our blanking tools, and we cut from that sheet steel. It is quite big. This coil, for example, is about 20 tons worth. On average, we get delivered about 15 tons in each coil.
The plant starts in 1954 and 5 years later becomes the largest employer in the area.
It's a real growing process, you know. You join here as sort of a young guy, a little bit apprehensive of the world around you. As you can see, it's a big factory. It makes you quite nervous, but you grow into it.
At Swindon, they produce nearly 90% of the Mini's pressings and the majority of the sub-assemblies. such as the doors, bonnets, and tailgates.
We're now at the sort of tail end of the blanking process. What we saw earlier was the coiled steel coming in. It's now been through this blanking line, chopped, if you like, into sheet steel. What you can see here behind you is blanks for the mini sunroof.
The sunroof blanks are extremely thin. The height of each one is equal to just 7 sheets of paper stacked on top of each other.
So on a press like this, in the first operation, which is the forming press, where all the shaping's done.
Presses vary in age and power. The largest uses 5,000 tons of force. That's half the weight of the Eiffel Tower, and it presses down on a sheet of metal in mere seconds.
This is the final stage in the pressing process. We've cut the sheet steel, we've formed it into a panel, and now we just check the outer surface for cosmetic defects to make sure it's just perfect for the customer.
After a part is pressed, it heads next door to the welding hall.
The parts are brought here, and we assemble them into what we call sub-assemblies.
Over 200 welding robots create body parts a jolt at a time.
The robots offer pinpoint accuracy, repeatability in the process, and speed.
The robots better move fast. The welding shop's cycle time is tied directly to the speed of the Oxford final assembly plant.
Each individual cell is a 60-second roughly cycle time is what we aim for. We have to match the cycle time in Oxford in that respect. I think the volume of panels produced here is quite mind-blowing. We produce 11,000, say, assemblies a day, which is pretty staggering.
The majority of the finished parts are sent nearly 35 miles to final assembly.
This is huge for Oxford. The employment that it brings, the kudos that it brings. I mean, we see visitors every day of the week from all over the world that want to come in and see how the car's built, and that's totally understandable. I'd want to see it.
The facility opens in 1913, and just 2 decades later, accounts for nearly 30% of England's total exports. But in the back half of the 20th century, the success fades fast.
The British automotive industry collapses multiple times.
By the 1980s, the plant has already gone through 6 different owners. Years of minimal investment doom it to an uncertain future.
The feeling was one of great trepidation. We didn't know what the future would bring, so we knew that the future was very, very difficult for the plant.
In 1994, BMW buys the Rover Group, which at the time owns Mini, for nearly 1.2 billion euros.
By the time BMW bought Mini, it wasn't really a car company the way we think of most mainstream car companies. They weren't coming out with new products or anything.
6 years later, BMW relaunches the Mini brand. The goal isn't to help a nation, but rather the bottom line.
In the late 90s, BMW had a lot of aspirations to grow, but if they want to expand, they need to have some less expensive cars, some more affordable, everyman kind of cars. They don't want to hurt their name by putting it on something really cheap.
At the time, some critics pan the reborn Mini for being both sacrilegious and a less expensive Beamer.
You could see the Mini Cooper as my first Beamer. The modern Mini bears little resemblance to the original Mini. It's much bigger, it's much heavier. It doesn't drive like the original Minis at all.
Other commentators contend the reborn machine opens up a premium product to a broader market.
You got people saying, well, I can't afford a BMW, but hey, here's this Mini. It's stylish, it's different, it's fun, and it's built by the same guys that built a BMW 3 Series. There's a lot of that BMW value in this car, so you're kind of getting the best of both. You're getting this iconic British style, and you're getting that German cachet that you want.
The success story starts thanks to a very small car, but it actually means quite a bit more.
It's the biggest employer outside of the public sector. You take a walk through Oxford and you'll see features harking back to manufacturing here for the last 100 years. It means an awful lot.
Revitalizing the Oxford plant helps both the local community and members of the Mini family.
It's quite a big family business here. You'll find a lot of generations work here, so it's passed on from generation to generation.
There's a lot of people that have had a lot of history. My father, for example, worked here. My grandfather also worked here. But there's people that go back 3, 4 generations.
I'm the last member of my family to come here. My sister works here, my father's worked here, my grandparents worked here. Back in the very old days, my gran worked here building parts for, I think it was fuel tanks for aeroplanes. My mum worked here in payroll. I'm the last one here.
Having fun starts on the line, but ends up imbued in the car itself.
It's just such a fun little car. The feeling is amazing. It's just great, and they're great to drive as well. I have one.
It's the people that make the plant. You could call it love.
It's just such a well-known and well-liked brand, isn't it? A renewed version in sort of 2000-ish re-sparks that love for everyone, I think, because it's just quirky and it's not like a sort of bog-standard car. It draws the eye, doesn't it?
The catchy and quirky Mini turns heads thanks to one of the most sophisticated body shops in the automotive world, where every day they assemble 1,000 new shells blazingly fast thanks to 1,000 robots, 6,000 welds, and the hard work of the next generation of Mini craftspeople. Every day at the Oxford Final Assembly Plant, brand new Minis roll off the line nearly every minute.
They still build them in England, and they put Union Jacks on the roof and play up the Britishness of them.
The process begins in a highly automated body shop.
We're in body and white. The body is what you see being built over here. It's the bare bones of the car. We fit the closures to it. Trim pieces, the windows, the door cars, etc. all get fitted later on.
BMW spends over £750 million upgrading the site.
The total build-up time is around a day from start of the process to end of the process where the car gets delivered into the paint shop.
650 workers split over 3 shifts oversee all the robots.
It's non-stop. It kicks off at 6 o'clock in the morning. We work round the clock until Friday night. There's constantly something different happening. Always, you know, the robots are moving in the background. You have to keep your wits about you.
Over 435 different steel and synthetic parts are connected, and 90% of the tasks are automated.
The body sides get built up in 3 modular steps, so we go from a framing 1 body, which is, you wouldn't really recognise it as a body shell, framing 2, where a lot more of the structural rigidity comes in. Framing 3 starts to resemble something more of a car, and then the hang-on parts are all fitted, and that's where you'll really recognise it as a body.
On average, a finished body in white weighs nearly 400 kilos. Once the welding robots have their fun, a special perceptron camera double-checks the work. The system is accurate up to 1/10 of a millimeter, which is just about the width of a human hair. When a body is finished, it's time to add a splash of British colour inside the paint shop, where it will take 9.5 more hours to give a new machine its vibrant exterior.
We're at the point now where we've got the cars come over from the body in white.
The first step is to rinse the body shells in a chemical bath.
Our first process is our pre-treatment. It goes through different baths with different chemicals, making sure the car is perfectly clean and ready to take the paint.
After taking a quick dip, the body is baked at 180 degrees Celsius, which gives the shell a greenish primer tint.
It goes into a complete dip tank. We get the first layer of paint in it, which we call eco, just paint being applied through electrostatic.
A collection of robots applies over 77 meters of seam sealer to each machine.
The car will then go through a small area of preparation prior to going into the colour booths, where all the robots will spray firstly inside the car, then outside the car.
The colour booth features 2 different sets of robots. The first are electrostatic machines that apply the base coat and flat colours. However, if you order a metallic finish, then pneumatic robots join the action. In total, it takes roughly 4 litres of paint to cover a Mini.
The huge amount of customization you can do to a Mini. These cars have character. You can get interesting decals, get interesting stripe packages, interesting logos, and it's all there to make the car feel a little bit more unique than your typical $20,000 to $40,000 economy vehicle.
The fully automated facility is entirely modern, but it wasn't always this way.
I've been here a long time now. I'm in my 38th year of working here. I'm on my 3rd paint shop. When I first started, we sprayed all them by hand. And in those days, all the paint had lead in them. And we didn't have air-fed masks. We had just a little paper mask. And that would be our day's work, and it'd be hard.
Tom Bennett runs the Mini paint shop, and his history with the marque goes back a long way.
The success story isn't just with me. My father worked in the press shops here for 40 years. And I currently got both my sons worked here, one for 10 years and one for 15 years. When it comes time to me to retire, I've still got my family, and this Mini is a big part of my family and always has been for many generations.
Family connections mean a great deal at the Oxford plant.
My brother actually worked here before me, so it was through a referral. A lot of my friends were moving and working here, so I thought, why not take the opportunity?
Knowing someone on the inside helps get your foot in the door, but it's hard work that moves you up.
But I've been within assembly since 2003. I've slowly worked my way up. I actually started off on the shop floor as an associate, doing the process the same as these guys, became a team leader, and now a process leader.
The healthy amount of upward mobility creates frequent job openings, some of which are filled by former apprentices taught at the Oxford plant. In 2012, the brand creates the Mini Academy.
Particularly in the UK, you're in a situation whereby vocational skills, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, those sort of people went into decline. And unfortunately, now we're paying a price for that.
Each year, 32 lucky youngsters are given the chance to learn the ins and outs of auto production.
It's about growing that person from scratch. We want to influence behaviors. We want to teach life skills. We want these people to be people that at the end of their apprenticeship want to have a 40-year career with our business.
Jason Gaskell is the head of the apprentice training program. He runs a highly intensive 3 or 4 year course that offers future employees old world skills while also protecting the brand's future.
What we don't want is a situation whereby we get to a stage where nobody has that old ability or that old hands-on ability to be able to put their hand to something, to fix it, to keep things going.
While the goal is to cultivate artisanal skills, the approach is utterly modern.
Apprenticeships historically were viewed as being for people who couldn't necessarily hack it in an academic forum. That is not the case today. The people that you see around you today in this workshop are highly academic.
New apprentices don't start with tools, but rather mice. The academic program begins in a high-tech classroom.
Currently, at the moment, we're standing in what we call the IT suite. As part of their apprenticeship, they need to learn how to design and draw things on CAD.
CAD, or computer-aided design, lets the apprentices learn their trade in the virtual world. After the digital tech, it's time for old-school tools.
And we're now in what we call our technical training facility, or if I go back to old school, in our workshop.
I think it's kind of a good mix of sort of hands-on learning and theory learning as well, and you get to work around with the cool cars, so that's nice.
Even though the factory is extremely automated, the new apprentices start with basic handwork.
You can see the people working on the benches are really doing some basic down-to-earth skills. Filing, drilling, cutting. Things that you would expect any base foundation person wanting to get into engineering to be able to do.
Once the students master hand tools, it's time to move up to the motorized lathes and mills.
Now, in your modern engineering terms, you'd feed that into a computer program and the machine would do the turning and cutting for you. We're still old school here. We want them to physically be able to put a piece of metal into a machine and make something with it.
After all the tools, it's time for something a bit more shocking.
What you see in front of you now is our electrical training area. So they do a little bit on what we would term domestic electrical. So how do I wire a plug? How do I wire a light? Because there may be that situation that they need to do that.
Doing, the machining and with the hand fittings and everything like that, the electrical side of it. It's something that I've never known before, and I've learned all these different skills that I didn't even think I could do, and it's possible.
More importantly, they then go on to PLCs and programming, so the equipment that controls our factories, they get to do that.
Learning how to program the equipment inside the plant is critically important.
Although technology is taking massive leaps forward, there is still big bits of equipment that sit out in our factories that need to be fixed. Nothing runs forever. Our utopian world would love us to have a situation like that, but it doesn't exist. So what these young people are learning is, should something go wrong at 2 o'clock in the morning, they have the ability to get that fixed quickly.
Rapid solutions and intelligent problem solving are critical skills inside the Oxford plant, where brand new Minis roll off the line every 67 seconds. And each shift, 700 workers put their hearts and souls into every machine.
It's getting your hands dirty. It's finding out how things work. If you like that sort of thing, you like working here.
We are proud of the product, so we want to make sure it's good for the customers and everybody enjoys it.
2,300 people work on 8 distinct lines under this roof.
1,000 cars a day. So that's something we're very proud of, is 1,000 cars every single day.
On the track, modern Minis move forward at a nice clip. But if you look down at the dashboard, it's a throwback to another time.
They keep it small. There's no deviation from their philosophy. I think the thing that I like the most about Mini is that it's unrepentantly Mini. They do it their own way, and that's it.
Installing the iconic dashboard takes place at Station 20.
We're now installing the cockpit into the vehicle. So it's very, very precise. It only just fits into the aperture of the door. It's then fitted onto its locating points on the dashboard, and then it's secured to the vehicle.
Simple bolts secure the dashboard. But back in the Mini Academy, the goal is to secure the future of the brand.
It takes us 4 years to qualify an apprentice. We can prototype, launch, and build a car in 2.5. So that gives you a kind of a timescale idea of what apprenticeships are all about. They're a massive, massive investment for the long-term strategy of a business.
The long-term plan starts in a very internet-savvy way.
I applied through going online on the Facebook page.
Some apprentices arrive online, others show up in need of change.
I did do a degree in politics, actually, and then I sort of realised I didn't want to do that, so had a bit of a career change, and here I am. When you say it to someone, it always sparks a conversation. So yeah, it's not some unknown company. They're like, what do they do? It's quite easy to kind of talk about the cars and where things are going. So that's always interesting.
It's easy to see where the Oxford Mini plant is headed. Today, the facility is responsible for more than 10% of all the automotive production in the UK, including the hottest Mini of them all, the JCW. The John Cooper Works edition is the fastest machine that Mini has ever made. Its 228 horsepower, 2-litre twin-turbo motor is built inside the Hams Hall facility, where over 7,000 3- and 4-cylinder motors come to life every single day.
We're in Plant Hams Hall. This is an engine plant where we machine and assemble engines.
behind us is the start of the cylinder block line. So this is where we machine the cylinder blocks that go into Mini. So these are raw parts. They come to us, they're cast externally, and they come here for us to machine them.
The stations move in under 30 seconds, and it takes about 8 hours from start to finish to build a new motor.
This is the start of the process where we launch the cylinder head onto the assembly line, and it then takes a number of stations. It gets assembled. We have machined heads that are machined next doors in our machining hall. They come in a pallet, get delivered, and then they get loaded onto the assembly line via the robot.
The machined cylinder heads are assembled and tested.
What Raji's doing is he's visually inspecting the part just to make sure that there's no defects in the components. The problem with machining is machining will uncover defects in the casting.
In another part of the factory, they work on the crankshafts.
We're on the crankshaft machining line, and we're very close towards the end of the process. And this is a super finishing process. There's 3 steps through this finishing process. So there's a rough tape, the finishing tape process, and then there's another tape that picks up the parts of the crankshaft that don't get picked up on this particular one here. So 3 steps. It's a very fine paper, yeah. As you can see, 1500 grit, it's very, very fine. It's developed on a continuous roll, so it continuously rolls around, so you've always got fresh tape.
On another line, pistons are built up.
This is a sub-assembled piston and conrod. So they're basically travelling now on their journey to the piston fit station, where they'll marry up with a block.
It's time to build a new motor. The crankshaft is installed. New engines then receive their unique identification number. Pistons are connected.
Some of the parts are very intricate, and so it can be very demanding for automation to do that sort of work.
They fit the turbochargers, the inlet manifold, and engine harness.
So at this point, it becomes a unique engine going into a unique Mini.
The motor is now ready to be sent down the road to the Oxford Final Assembly Plant, where it will be delivered directly to the powertrain sub-assembly line.
So our engines come from Hams Hall as a completely built-up engine, but what we now do is build them into the front suspension unit. So we marry now the engine to the subframe and the front suspension, and this is what you see behind us.
55 craftspeople work across 25 engine sub-assembly stations.
Every single process is exactly timed against the 64 seconds. So meticulous planning of every single element of every single process is planned down to the last second.
Once they finish sub-assembling the motor, it's transferred across the aisle, where a new Mini eagerly awaits its power plant.
Where we're standing now is what we call marriage. That is a place where the engine is married with the car, and we've got a split marriage, front axle and engine and gearbox.
So it's a very precise element of the production. With the engine, it's very, very tight to go into the cars. We're talking millimetre gaps between the engine and the body.
To achieve the required precision, the team relies on a special automated system which raises the power plant 15 centimetres beneath the car. Then, 4 robots bolt the drivetrain, subframe and suspension to the car.
8 bolts that hold the engine into the car from underneath, and then there's further ones that are from the engine bay downwards.
car becomes a real car. Now it's married, now it's proud to call itself a car.
Workers bolt the exhaust onto the new engine.
The big pieces that we're installing here is the rear exhaust, the heat shield, further down the line, the modular front end, and also seats. They are fitting the exhaust, so this is onto the hanger bracket. This guy is secure in the front, and this guy's putting on the nice chrome finish so it looks quite pretty at the end. We're going to put nice, shiny, pretty things on the cars.
The battery is connected.
This is at the part where we fit the front end of the vehicle, the front bumper, the front radiator, basically the front frame of the vehicle. Behind me, the parts come in sequence. They're brought in exactly the build sequence that we have going through our production line. So they take them off the rack that they come in on an assister, and then they mate it up to the front of the vehicle. So it's the front end marriage.
Further down the line, workers fit the sport-orientated wheels.
We fit the wheels and secure them. Then further up, we have underbody, which is mainly underpanelling.
Wheels which help give the Mini its responsive steering.
People love them for racetracks and back roads. It's fun, super responsive little car that you can just whip it around anything.
I've been here 14 years now. It's great. It's a good company, good to work for, good environment, a lot of good guys here, so it's a really good company.
The wheel fit station is fast and efficient, yet it hides a tremendous amount of complexity. There are over 42 different wheel and tyre combinations available. Once the safety systems check out, it's time to program the Mini's key.
I love what I'm doing, the key programming. I really enjoy the job. I have to be very careful watching what I'm doing, checking the numbers for the right car.
Finally, after 1.7 kilometers of assembly, a new Mini is ready for the real world.
So we're on the finishing line, so this is basically the end of where everything's finished. This will then drive off around next door into validation, ready to go to the customer.
It's taken 5.5 hours to build a new Mini. The quality control process is extremely thorough, but for some machines, it's even more intense. Once a day, they pull a selected machine off the line for extended testing.
Not all of our customers live in the ideal climate. We have variations between whether or not you're looking in Pacific areas or Asia areas where you're talking about quite high humidity, in certain areas which is high sunshine. So this is our climate chamber. We can go down to minus 30 degrees Celsius and up to plus 60. And we can do 98% humidity, so we can really make it a very warm and humid atmosphere. It's very, very unpleasant.
After a machine heats up and thaws out, it takes an extended bath in a water test booth.
This is the water test rig, another area where we torture our cars and really make sure that they are tested to the absolute limits.
They run the water test for a day and a half and have the ability to turn the machine side to side and on an angle.
Some people may have, on their homes, they may have to park like that, basically for the whole lifetime of the vehicle.
After washing off, each machine hits a few bumps.
We're in the shaker rig area. This is the 4-post shaker rig. We're just putting it through its paces to understand if there's any squeaks and rattles on the car.
I think the challenging part is actually about trying to understand what the root cause of something is. You can always hear a noise. Any customer hears a noise in a car, but trying to find out exactly what's causing it is the main issue. It's always the most difficult thing to do.
Diagnosing unwanted sounds is difficult, but in Oxford, the really hard times passed long ago.
I've been at Mini Plant Oxford now for 15 years. When I first started, probably about 50 or 40 cars a day. Now we're making a lot more cars.
The Oxford plant builds nearly 200,000 machines a year. It's a remarkable turnaround for a brand that was once on the ropes.
What Minis do is they focus on sort of the lighter side of driving. The more fun stuff, the more not so serious stuff. Their designs aren't cute, they're playful, and that's the way these cars drive.
The current top-of-the-line machine is the JCW edition. The fastest, coolest, and costliest hot hatch the brand has ever built.
The John Cooper Works edition that we make at the plant here is our supercar. It doesn't come with a massive price tag with it, but it's a really exciting, sporty car.
When you see the JCW badge on the back of a Mini, you know, hey, this is the one that's sporty. This is the one that's fun to drive. This is the one that harkens back to those old cars. JCWs are fun to drive. You get more power, you get more tire, you get suspension that's tuned to be more aggressive. You get a little bit more excitement out of the stuff that I'm interested in, the passion of driving.
The JCW's 228 horsepower engine thrusts the machine 0 to 100 kph in 6 seconds flat and offers a top speed of 246 kilometers per hour. All for about €32,000.
If you think about the British car industry, everything that's left is kind of luxury cars and sports cars, expensive stuff, but the Mini endured. It was the odd one out, right? It was the different one. Kind of retained this pop culture status. The great thing about Mini, all the Minis, and before you even get to the JCW package, is they're all like little go-karts. They've got that really small, glued to the ground, super quick response. It just super zippy. It just goes right wherever you point it. The Mini Cooper has democratized performance. There's no corner too tight for it. And then you take a car that's that good to begin with, and then you add all the JCW goodies. Power, bigger brakes, better tires, and different suspension, all these things, and you can really carve a corner with those things.
The Mini starts thanks to a fuel shortage, but quickly becomes an inexpensive form of sport where smiles per corner matter the most.
When the new Mini Cooper was reborn last decade, it really did sneak up on a lot of people. We said, here's this thing, oh, it's cute, but a Cooper S drove like a little go-kart. I mean, you got the wheels pushed all the way out to the corners. They've got a great stance to them, low center of gravity. They're really nimble, really excellent little performance machines.
Minis surprise people thanks to their affordable performance, but they wow them due to their British sensibility.
As much as Mini is a sporty little car, it trades a lot on its uniqueness. Unique looks and its unique interior layout, and the fact that it's not like anything else you buy in that sort of price class. It's not another 3-box, 4-door sedan that everyone else has.
There's two ways you could look at this car. You could look at it as an inexpensive way to get in a BMW, because there's a lot of BMW attributes to this vehicle, even though they're kind of cleverly hidden. You could also look at it as a lifestyle choice, as a lifestyle vehicle, something that's exciting and interesting to drive, something that's different than another vehicle that you might buy for $30,000.
The great thing about Mini is that they kept the formula. The cars have gotten a lot bigger. They look a bit different. They've got a lot more features and technologies and things these days, but they've always made them fun little go-kart to drive. And the JCWs are the best ones of those.
The modern Mini, a machine that only exists due to an oil crisis, comes of age thanks to a Formula One racer, and today offers a uniquely affordable blend of British fun and high-tech performance. It starts with petrol-based passion, becomes a hotbed for high-performance engineering, and eventually leads to the renaissance of an entire brand.
Audi really bet the farm on racing.
2 decades ago, Audi was an outsider looking for an edge.
It's tough to describe how Audi comes to what it is today. There isn't a simple way.
13 Le Mans wins later, they've become one of the most dominant endurance racing teams in history.
We're here at the actual manufacturing base of Audi Sport Customer Racing, where the race cars get manufactured.
Success at the track gives rise to a new kind of supercar for the street.
The R8 has become a symbol of the modern age of supercars.
To stay on top, the brand must now replace its aging icon.
When you have a car like the first R8 that's so instantly recognized, it's going to be really difficult to recapture that same magic.
Recapturing the magic comes down to a machine that's been forged with glory and built to defend the honor of a once-forgotten name. The second generation R8 V10 Plus. It goes 0 to 100 kph in 3.2 seconds. Hits the 200 kph mark just 6.7 seconds later and roars all the way up to a top speed of 330 kilometers per hour.
The R8 V10 Plus is an exceptionally fast car because it has 600 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and a really, really fast shifting transmission with a very responsive launch control.
The second-gen R8 V10 Plus is the fastest production machine to ever wear the 4 rings, and one of its most expensive. The base model starts at just over 165,000 euros.
The R8 is kind of the all-around supercar. These things are blisteringly fast on a racetrack. They change directions so quickly. They're amazing sports car to drive, but they're also incredibly livable.
The R8 saga is a tale told through racing, and it starts nearly 2 decades ago. In 1999, Audi debuts an all-new prototype, the R8R.
We entered racing business in the Le Mans series from '99 onwards.
The R8R is a 610 horsepower open cockpit racing machine. Little does anyone know just how transformative it will be.
We won in 2000 at Le Mans, and that changed how we saw ourselves.
The 24 Hours of Le Mans is perhaps the most famous endurance road race in the world. When the R8R wins it in just its second running, it changes the destiny of the brand.
Since the early 2000s, Audi has won more often than not and more often than anyone else. It's been almost an unbroken streak.
Starting in the year 2000, Audi wins Le Mans 5 out of 6 years.
They got into endurance racing, and they spent a lot of R&D money learning about how to make a car not only go fast, but last in extreme conditions for a long time, because you got to be able to do both to finish a 24-hour race.
Success on the track coincides with perhaps the greatest automotive renaissance in history.
They've come from nothing to one of the top luxury auto brands in the world in the span of about 2 decades.
Transforming an automaker is hard to do in half a century, let alone just under 20 years. And a single concept car is the key.
It led to a show car in 2003 at the International Automobile Salon at Frankfurt. People really didn't expect us to bring a sports car, especially a middle motor sports car that had a performance.
Obviously, the Le Mans concept comes out and people say, what is that thing? It's this beautiful mid-engine supercar, and it looks like nothing else. It's got these great lines, and people loved it.
It was very, very secretive. Not many people knew what we were going to show, and then all of a sudden, holy cow. The industry was also surprised, I think, and no one expected us to do that. It was a big cannon shot for the whole industry.
It's a blast felt around the automotive world, and 5 years later leads to the introduction of the R8 Supercar.
So the introduction in 2008 literally changed everything. It's a way like kids started pinning pictures of the R8 to the wall.
A couple years later, they come out with the street car, and it looks a lot like the concept, and that's hard to do. A lot of concept cars are, you know, crazy pie-in-the-sky things, all these ridiculous design elements. Audi pulled it off.
Supercars are always fast. Often, they're also full of exaggeration. The first-gen R8 isn't. The machine's radical style, game-changing reliability, and heady performance help transform not only the supercar space, but also Audi itself.
They weren't there yet, and then you get this incredible halo car, and everybody wants an Audi.
The Audi R8 was so radical when it first came out. It had a design that was so different than the establishment that it attracted attention wherever it went. When you see one on the road today, you still think, oh my God, what was that?
The R8 really made the supercar approachable and dare I say accessible. It was not nearly as expensive as a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. It was more comfortable, it had more cargo space, it was reliable.
Today, the second generation of the machine comes to life just outside of Neckarsulm, Germany, inside of the Bollinger Hofer factory.
We're in the factory here where the R8 is produced, and it's fantastic to see them moving along here like spaceships, hanging on production rigs and really like sculptures.
The 230,000 square meter facility is home to 491 highly trained craftspeople.
A lot of this car is hand-produced, and these people, they've been specially chosen, they've been specially trained up to do what they do.
On a good day, they produce just 20 machines. Each is a blend of industrial mass production know-how and handcrafted perfection.
We build a lot of cars in different segments, and we take the benefits of that mass production style and combine it with a very, very specific, highly customer-oriented manufacture.
The state-of-the-art facility is part of a €25 billion infrastructure improvement project.
It's always a treat in this industry when you get to build a factory for a car. We were able to set it up how we wanted it, so it's really a very nice place to build cars, and then the guys do a great job.
We moved into this facility in 2014. The novel idea of a production facility like this one, a production center like this one that brings an R8 to life is naturally a special challenge.
Here with the new Bollinger Hofer factory, it's really cool. That's why I became a designer. I wanted to create things. I wanted to create cars and bring a smile to people's face when they see the car.
It will take artisanal welders over 2.5 days to construct a space frame. The body isn't just sexy, it's also cutting edge. The R8 is built using a modular sports car system known as the MSS platform.
The MSS is a platform which provides the technical basis for the R8, basic structure of the car.
The process begins by loading aluminium pieces onto a jig and carefully locking them into place. This guarantees dimensional accuracy during the early stages of the build.
It's magical when you see them sitting there and they're welding it all together. Hold the pieces together so that it doesn't move. It's really, really something special within the industry.
The completed sub-assemblies transfer to another jig and form the basis of the front, mid, and rear subframes. Each weld is both difficult and critical.
Aluminium has a lower melting point. You have to be careful how you do it so that you don't just melt the metal.
There are over 89 meters of finished welds in a single R8 frame. That's almost the length of a football field. Next, a worker uses an advanced etching machine to hand stamp the vehicle identification number.
Wir sind hier im Bereich der Unterbaulinie.
We are here in the underbody line area. At the front end, mid-coach and rear end are connected here for the first time. We refer to the whole process as marriage.
Unlike many robotically driven car factories, the R8 body shop is a very hands-on affair.
Wir sind so unterschiedlich, weil wir hier in einer Manufaktur.
We are so different because we build everything by hand. Our individual output is lower compared to the robotic assembly you're familiar with, while at the same time, we have the same expectations for car body precision.
Today's robotic welders are extremely accurate. It takes 4 technicians and welding both sides of the car in unison to compete with them. This guarantees a perfect match.
Wir schweißen die Untergruppen komplett.
We weld the underbody together completely by hand. That means we take the pieces, fit them together manually, and weld them together, all the while ensuring that the assembly dimension remains true.
Finally, it's time to put the body panels on.
In dieser Station bauen wir die Anbauteile, die Außenhaut.
We assemble the R8 external components at this station, the shell. Here we join the hood, the door, and the side panel, and thereby create 80% of the visible surface and what it comes down to for the customer.
Sichtbar und die das Fahrzeug für den Kunden ausmachen.
The fit is extremely precise.
Wir reden über eine Toleranz.
We're talking about a tolerance of plus or minus 0.3 millimeters at the joint on a painted car.
0.3 millimeters is roughly the width of just 2 human hairs. The extreme detail is echoed in the tight fit of the roof panel.
Wir kleben das Dach teilweise.
We partially glue the roof onto the frame. We then rivet the roof onto the frame with punch rivets, but we also join it additionally with welds.
The finished space frame weighs just 200 kilograms and looks like a piece of industrial art. Yet it's the silver bare aluminium that harkens back to the brand's racing roots and showcases a very fast future. The second generation R8 V10 Plus is a rocket on the racetrack, an eye-catcher on the street, and the halo car for an automotive juggernaut, all of which almost didn't happen.
Audi for a long time was the other German car company. They weren't well known and they didn't make anything really super standout.
Audi's survival saga begins with the birth of the automobile itself. In 1886, German inventor Carl Benz bolts a single-cylinder engine onto a 3-wheeled carriage. The result is the first car.
There is a huge history in automotive brand in Germany.
The success of the patent Motorwagen ignites an industrial gold rush. Germany becomes a hotbed for early automotive advancement.
There were dozens of companies who produced practically everything from a little carriage with a motorcycle engine up to top-class automotives.
Audi, Porsche, DKW, and Vondra are 4 of the companies jockeying to become major players in the burgeoning field. But their fate changes on October 29th, 1929, when the American stock market collapses. Overnight, $30 billion vanishes, and the global economy hits the brakes hard. It's the start of the Great Depression.
Before the Wall Street crash, we had approximately 50 different companies. Today, 3 are existing.
The crash is the deepest and longest-lasting economic downturn in the history of the Western industrialized world.
The four companies joined together under the roof of the Saxon Bank. They had money in all of these different companies, and if one of them would have collapsed, this would be a catastrophe for the banking institute.
The shotgun wedding creates the second largest car company in Germany at the time.
The completely different companies joined together, something a bit like today's Volkswagen Group.
The merger secures the Saxon Bank's investment. But rebranding a car maker isn't easy. So the freshly minted company creates a four-ringed logo to pay homage to the four founding brands. Then, in the face of economic adversity, the new company decides to do something bold. They go racing.
You need the folks to remember the name of this company. You can do this by winning races.
2 years after the merger, they introduced the Type A.
Out came in 1934 the first Grand Prix car. 34 was a year of learning.
24 months later, they're ready to challenge Mercedes on the track.
From that time on, you have two German marques competitive at the racetracks. All the others, they were second or third fiddle.
It's the dawn of the Silver Arrow era.
Germany's racing color was silver. And so you have these really fast German automobiles that the press labels Silver Arrows because of how competent they are at going high rates of speed.
The car doesn't just inspire a nickname, it also lays the foundation for Audi's racing heritage and the modern supercar.
These racing cars were way ahead of the time. Mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, center fuel tank, driver sitting literally between the front wheels. He has to feel what happens in his back. 6 liters capacity, 520 horsepower, and has immense output. Top speed, 330 kilometers.
What was revolutionary in 1936 isn't all that different from today's high-performance machines, including the second-gen R8.
The best handling sports cars always have the engine between the occupants of the vehicle and the rear axle, sort of sandwiched in there.
There are specific benefits to having a middle-engine car. You have the majority of your weight set up between the wheels. It was a conscious decision when we started the R8 program.
Today's R8 continues the legacy thanks to its mid-engine layout, but it also offers a new carbon fiber twist.
We wanted to combine the benefits of carbon fiber in this particular vehicle. It's the first time we've used it in an Audi.
Inside the second wing of the Bollinger-Hofer body shop, painted aluminium shells meet carbon fiber on the factory floor.
We have a long tradition of building aluminium space frame cars. And we also have a tradition of using specific materials in specific places for the most bang for the buck.
Adding carbon fiber helps reduce weight and increase stiffness.
The stiffness of a car is like integral to the sensations you feel while driving it. A car that isn't stiff is going to feel loose and sort of sloppy because you can feel the entire body flexing and moving around you.
The carbon fiber elements reduce weight by 15% and help the machine become 40% stiffer at the same time.
Being stiffer is better because it allows all the other bits to work how they're planned to. When a car is bending or twisting, then a suspension has to work in variable planes and in variable directions. If it's all very stiff, then you have the suspension working on very specific lines in very specific ways, and you can set it up much more precisely.
Building a lighter and stronger machine begins with the installation of the carbon fiber firewall between the occupant cell and the engine bay. Next, they set the transmission housing into a mechanical jig. A robot applies glue, then a craftsperson swings the piece into place, before yet another robot rivets it together.
When you lay carbon fiber in certain directions, it's very, very stiff. In other directions, it bends. We've used it along the middle of the car, in order to stiffen that up.
At the next station, workers install the carbon fiber B-pillars and rivet them by hand.
Aluminium and carbon fiber don't necessarily like each other as materials, so you have to be very careful about how you prepare the aluminium to be bonded with the carbon fiber.
A finished body is now ready for a detailed quality control check where a specialist looks over each and every corner of the machine. Finally, after nearly 3 days, a new R8 is ready to hit the final assembly line. Since the dawn of the 21st century, Audi has dominated endurance racing, racking up both individual victories and overall constructor championships.
Audi's chief success in racing has come in endurance racing. And that's kind of become the go-to field now for automakers who are really looking to take what they learn in racing and apply it to the street.
In 2011, the brand debuts the R18 prototype. The machine adds 4 more wins at Le Mans and takes home 2 more World Endurance Championships. Each victory reinforces the company's racing pedigree, while also influencing future products for the street.
It's an extreme environment which helps the street car because you have to focus on different things.
It's not an easy thing to do. Everyone says that their racing technology influences their street cars, but to actually put your money where your mouth is and build a street car that actually incorporates that knowledge and actually performs like you expect it to is really remarkable.
Racing meets road going inside the Bollinger-Hofer factory. This is the home of the second-gen Audi R8. The assembly hall is a high-performance oasis where the future and the past collide one car at a time. Inside these walls, they manufacture the base R8, the top-of-the-line V10 Plus, and build the space frame for the LMS racing variant.
The R8 assembly line consists of 15 steps, and currently we assemble 17 cars per day.
Every 30 minutes, partially built machines advance to the next station on the line, and it takes 7.5 hours to fully assemble just one machine.
Wir befinden uns zu Beginn der Montage. Die Karosserie.
We're at the beginning of the assembly. The body moves from frame assembly 2 on the automated vehicle guiding system onto the assembly line.
The guided sleds are one of the few forms of automation inside the factory. Yet, even though they're robotic, they can actually think and see for themselves.
Man sieht, ich werde nicht überfahren. Das fahrerlose Transportsystem startet.
You see, I am not run over. The automated guidance system begins automatically. If someone is in the way, like I am now, this horn sounds and the light is red. Once I move to the side, it starts up again.
The facility looks high-tech, but the cars are born in an old-school way. For the new R8, the team relies on the talented craftspeople who have to fit up to 50 parts in a predefined sequence and master up to 12 different tools per station.
Wir befinden uns hier am Anfang der Montagelinie.
We're at the start of the assembly line on day 1. Assembly begins by mounting the parts located directly on the chassis.
Workers apply protection covers to the freshly painted body panels, take the doors off, and add insulation to the machine. A station later, they use a sliding hoist to move the wiring harness into the car.
The weight of the wiring harness is so great in this instance here that there is an aid so the technician doesn't need to lift with his back, but can instead move the piece ergonomically to the car.
Worker-friendly tech is a key to the Audi way. Nowhere is that more apparent than at Station 4, where the car is rotated up to 90 degrees.
Der entscheidende Vorteil ist der, den wir hier auch schon sehen.
We see the distinct advantage here. Technicians don't need to work above their heads, but rather are able to work directly in front of them. It's a very, very ergonomic position for the technician at this station. The automated guide transfers the frame to the hoist and then moves to this parked position. Autonomous assembly movements are already a reality here.
Workers add the oil, water, and fuel lines while the car is tilted. Unlike most cars, the R8 has not one, but two fuel tanks.
Dividing the tank in two onto itself has two reasons. A, of course, the issue of space. Secondly, there's of course the following. The amounts of petrol weight, right and left, are distributed very, very low in the vehicle, providing a low center of gravity. Naturally, good performance and good handling.
Workers build up the front trunk and bolt in the wiring harness. Next, two technicians in tandem swing a dashboard into the car and bolt it in place. The instrument panel looks ordinary, but it actually offers a vista into the future of the automobile.
The other super cool thing I love is that digital dashboard. That whole cove, there should be needles engaged in all one big screen, and it gives you so many opportunities. You can bring up all the information you want. My personal favorite is when you're trying to get somewhere you haven't been before, you make that entire screen your map. You just glance down and you can see, when's my next turn coming up? What's the map look like? I know the next 3 turns even. It's a really neat piece of technology.
A station later, radiators and intercoolers are sub-assembled next to the line and installed. A bit further down, an aisle over from the main line, the engine is prepped. A technician swings the 7-speed automatic transmission onto a jig, followed by the massive V10 motor.
Wir befinden uns hier in der Motorvormontage.
We are here in the engine subassembly. Engine subassembly is where the engine, transmission, and their auxiliaries are connected. It's where the heart of the R8, the engine, begins its journey into the car.
If you drove in a first-gen R8, the one real weak spot of that car was the transmission. It wasn't the best, and the automatic was a single clutch. The shifts were slow, they were kind of harsh. This new dual clutch design that they're using, the shifts are instantaneous, they are smooth, they happen exactly when you want it to. It's an awesome piece of technology, and it's great for going fast. It's gonna make you faster, no matter who you are.
Just 8 bolts connect the motor to the transmission, and it takes all of them to get the 610 horsepower to the ground. That's why they go to great lengths to confirm that each is torqued to the exact specification.
Entscheidend an der Stelle ist, und das verwenden wir an vielen Stellen innerhalb
It's crucial at this point, and we do this at various points along assembly, we electronically monitor all critical points of bolt torque. You can see the visual representation of this monitoring here, so that technicians can immediately see where they've tightened and where we are on an input-output image.
It takes just 12 seconds on average to drop the naturally aspirated V10 into the back of the chassis.
We are located at a decisive station pertaining to the engine on the assembly line, the marriage. The R8 marriage, of course, doesn't happen from underneath, as with mass-produced front-engine cars, but rather the R8, as a mid-engine sports car, gets its engine put in from behind and above.
While most of the automotive world is moving towards turbocharged engines, the R8 stands out because its V10 is still naturally aspirated.
Audi certainly knows about turbochargers. They use them on a lot of different engines, but there's something about this V10. It's just a kind of unique product. There aren't many V10s on the market, so it's a unique calling point, and it gives them a huge amount of performance.
The rapid-fire installation of the 425-kilogram engine underscores the team's exacting attention to detail.
Wie an vielen anderen Stationen ist Präzision gefragt.
Just like it is at the many other stations, precision is expected. And of course, that goes for the engine. The tight tolerance is key. It can't rock. It has to go tightly onto the designed position. And it does.
After the engine is dropped into place, technicians roll the exhaust system to the line. They use another ergonomically friendly lift to move it to the correct position before they bolt it on.
This car makes so much noise. There's a loud howl when you hop on the throttle. When you make a gear change, it's really nice, positive sound. When you lift off the throttle and downshift, you get exactly 3 backfires. It's like they've calculated each particular sound to make sure it always sounds the most exciting.
A few meters away, on another sub-assembly station, workers prep the front axle differential.
Was wir hier sehen, ist das Vorderachsdifferential.
This is the front axle differential. It and the drive shaft get installed here at step 7, which is, of course, what takes the R8 as a super sports car to the Quattro level.
One station later, they install the axle along with the drive shaft. Together, the two components form the heart of the car's all-wheel drive system.
All of a sudden, you have 4 wheels bringing that power down to the ground, not just 2. So that's a huge improvement there. You have 4 wheels pulling you out of a corner instead of 2 pushing you out of a corner.
While much of the R8 is brand new tech, the distinct all-wheel drive layout goes back a long way.
Audi tried to establish business in the American market in the early 70s. It was not very successful, we have to admit.
By the 80s, the brand has a foothold on the continent, but is still unknown elsewhere.
In the 1980s, BMW and Mercedes-Benz finally really caught on. They became really popular. Everyone had to have a German car. That was the cool thing to do.
Audi's answer is to fight fame with engineering. They call the philosophy Vorsprung durch Technik, or lead by technology. The heady concept generates a simple idea.
Then comes this Audi Quattro introduction in Geneva at the Geneva Fair. And from that time on, we have that Vorsprung durch Technik.
Quattro is a 4-wheel drive concept that revolutionizes rally car racing during the 80s. The term is derived from the Italian word for 4, but you don't have to be a linguist to understand its importance. During the decade, Audi wins 23 World Championship heats and 4 world titles because their cars can get more power to the ground.
If you look at the first Quattro with these wheel arches, permanent positive 4-wheel drive, 200 horsepower turbo engine.
Success on the rally car circuit brings fame, but little else.
I always say a green Audi 80 with a brown interior. This is typical for a German school parking lot when the teachers go to their break. The director drives an Audi 100, so this was nothing very special.
Today, the R8 is very special, but the installation of the V10 motor and its Quattro all-wheel drive components hides yet another surprise. Even though the engine looks centered in the car, it isn't.
Why is the engine offset? Well, you have a problem when you have to bring power to the front of the car. So the power comes out to the back of the motor, and you have a transmission, and then somewhere you got to get it up to the front. So you can either leave the motor in the middle and have your drivetrain at an angle, or you can move the motor over a little bit and go straight up to the front of the car.
At the last station on line 1, workers tighten over 150 connections and install the machine's disc brakes. The shape of the standard disc brake is highly unusual.
They use what's called a wave design on the outer side, so you have the 2 sides which channel heat away from the inside, and then these waves are used then to reduce the physical amount of metal which we're using within the brake plates. It came from racing, came from motorcycles. You saw a lot of that happening in those 2 areas.
Wir sind jetzt am Tag 9.
Here we are at step 9, the work step where the windows are installed. In this particular instance, the windscreen. There is one single robot here, one single piece of automation along the R8 assembly line, the automated adhesive step, the adhesive bead itself, to the windscreen.
After the glass is fitted, craftspeople add the rear tail lights and the iconic engine crossbrace.
The second stage is about exterior and interior, the parts one can later touch and feel. The rear end is finished at this stage, so right here we're looking at the rear bumper installation.
2 craftspeople swing the rear bumper into place and then fit the R8's retractable wing. A brand new R8 is halfway to the finish line. The majority of its mechanical components have been installed. But it's the bling that comes next that has helped showcase what Audi can do on the inside. In the 30s, Audi fought Mercedes-Benz on the track. In the 80s, they developed Quattro all-wheel drive to defeat them in the global marketplace. But it wasn't until they got serious about the interior of their machines that they beat them on the showroom floor.
One thing Audi does exceptionally well is interior design. The materials, the stitching, it all looks gorgeous.
The R8's interior sex appeal originates on line 2 inside the final assembly factory. The center console goes in first. Then they install the steering wheel.
You have a flat bottom steering wheel that evokes all, great racing cars you've ever seen.
Seats are added.
You also have a very focused appearance. All the controls on this car, all the gauges, everything is centered around the driver. There's really not much for the passenger to do.
One station later, they start working on the machine's signature side blades. The large air openings look like a styling cue, but they're actually a terrific example of function over form.
You got to get air in everywhere you can. The designers want to have a certain design look, and the engineers say, yeah, that's interesting, but we really need a certain number of cubic meters of air coming through to keep the motor cool. So that's a big challenge.
We try to express this Vorsprung durch Technik. The technology that we have in a race car is very functional driven. There's no bling bling and unnecessary features. It's all about the function.
The front bumper or fascia goes on. Next, they pay homage to the company's roots. A master craftsman delicately fits the famous 4 rings onto the bonnet. Finally, they bolt the LED headlights into place. The fuel tank feeder and cap are added. A craftsperson uses yet another assisted lift to bring the doors to the line and installs them onto the car. The machine receives a fresh set of rubber and a quick fuel fill.
The moment that always gives me goosebumps is also here in step 15, namely firing the engine for the first time. The first ignition is when the heart of the R8 is brought to life for the first time in this specific car.
After nearly 8 hours of meticulous handcrafting, the new R8 is fired up.
That's what I mean. Starting the engine for the first time. Goosebumps every time. Firing the engine up for the first time is something quite special.
The car looks finished, but it's not quite done with the Bollingher-Hofer factory.
Wir haben hier eine elektronische Wagenbegleitkarte eingeführt. Das heißt, sämtliche...
We use an electronic vehicle checklist to document and save the various steps, processes, serial numbers of airbags, of quality tests during assembly.
...während des Montageablaufs gemacht werden, sind elektronisch gespeichert.
Technicians can call up information about a car at any time to see where it is in the process.
The electronic control station replaces paper inside the factory and is the first of several quality checks. Next, a new R8 heads to an advanced tire alignment station. where lasers confirm that all 4 wheels are lined up and adjusted perfectly. Then a machine takes a quick shower inside a water booth to ensure that there are no leaks. They slowly and carefully inspect each finished machine for imperfections. A lot of supercars might look like they're built to race, but few actually are.
You know, a lot of car makers like to claim that they're using racing technology on the street. And in some cases it's true, in some cases it's an exaggeration. In the case of the Audi R8, there is actually a lot of connections between the race car and the street car.
The R8's dynamic reflexes on a racetrack go back to the very beginning of the second-gen project. Both the road-going R8 V10 and the Le Mans GT3 racing version are developed at the same time.
The benefit of having developed a racing car and a road-going car at the same time is that the racing car gets the hundreds of thousands of kilometers of durability testing. What we get is a testing in an environment. You have no other place where you're able to take a motor and just be so brutal with it as in a 24-hour race.
Before an engine can be tested on a track, it's first abused on an advanced test bench deep inside of Audi's Neckarslum facility, where a technician puts a new motor through its paces for weeks on end.
50% of the car that you're running on in the GT class comes right off of our base car here. The motor, you know, just right up to the transmission, it's 1-to-1.
Every day in the tiny German village of Biberach, on a quiet side street, dedicated racing professionals push high performance to the limit, 1 bolt at a time. This is a rare look inside the Audi Customer Sport Racing Department, where ordinary R8s are transformed into full-blown racing machines.
It's a great honor. It makes you very proud that you can be part of it, and that it's not just an isolated motorsports program. In Audi Sport, we always do things that matters to the road cars.
Chris Reinke is a man who knows how to go fast, very fast. As the head of Audi's LMP1 program, he leads the charge in winning the 24 Hours of Le Mans and a World Endurance Racing Championship. Today, Chris and his team build and sell R8 race cars for the tidy sum of €359,000.
Audi's paid close attention to ensuring there's a link between the R8 that you can buy for the street and the LMS GT3 racing variant that you can also buy from Audi and go take in FIA GT3 races. The big components that are very similar.
This is the very chassis that you saw leaving the Böllinghofe in the stage where it's primed. The cage is already welded into the basic chassis, which is the same as on the road car. Now the next step will be to take carbon fiber, race-specific components, to implement them to make it into the real race beast.
Transforming a normal production car into an all-out racing machine is often a complicated affair. But thanks to the R8's unique development process, both variants share many of the same components.
The road car and the race car has been designed at the very same time. So therefore we could influence the design of the road car as well as the road car could influence the race car design.
The second stage of the build, they add carbon fiber structural components to give the car even more torsional stiffness.
Now we are at the assembly place where actually the race cars get handcrafted. Now we put them up on the stands, and from here we start to assemble the mechanical components onto it.
The racing shop works very similarly to the main factory. Each car is built up bit by bit using part kits.
Well, we have these parts which get prepared in one box. They belong together and then get pre-assembled. So they come kitted together for the next assembly stage to enable the mechanics to work efficiently to assemble the race car in a very efficient way.
Perhaps no part of the R8 LMS machine gets more attention than the V10 power plant.
One of the best features in the new R8 is the drivetrain of the car, right? The engine itself, they use the same engine in their R8 race cars. It's tuned almost the same, and that's always awesome.
This is actually the very same engine that could go into the race car or into the road car. This gives us a great durability for a race car, because usually a race engine after endurance race has to get rebuilt. Our engine lasts a complete season, so even after our Class 1 at Daytona is here, we wouldn't rebuild the engine. That keeps on racing as a complete season.
In any given year, the racing department will build around 80 R8 LMS cars.
Well, now the car is completed. You know, the assembly is done. We take it out for a rollout to check all the system, if all functions are working. It comes back in for its final quality check. Our quality guy hooks up all the lists, you know, that everything is perfect. And this is how the customer receives it.
Racing customers aren't the only ones heading to the track. Street-going R8 V10 Plus machines can often be found there too.
What you have here is a recipe for a really quick acceleration time. You have a lightweight car, you have a powerful V10 engine, 600 horsepower and change, and you have a super quick transmission, sending power to all four wheels. You have great launch control, and with that kind of combination, that's just a recipe for great acceleration.
That acceleration launches the R8 V10 Plus from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.2 seconds.
It's quiet. The air conditioning works. You don't mind sitting in traffic in it. It's no different than sitting in any other luxury car trying to get down the freeway. But when you get out to that favorite road, it's an amazing performance car.
Part of the performance comes from the machine's light weight. Dry, the second-gen R8 comes in at just 1,454 kilograms.
The steering is super responsive. This V10 engine is so quick. It revs up so quickly. There's no waiting on the engine to catch up to you.
Keep your foot down and the 610 horsepower, naturally aspirated V10 Plus engine will hurtle you to a top speed of 330 kilometers per hour.
It's a wonderful thing that we don't have forced induction, turbocharging or supercharging on this V10. Modern sports cars are all adopting turbochargers because the efficiencies are hard to argue against or because their countries are requiring them to meet emission standards. Here we have a naturally aspirated 5.2-liter V10 that revs to near 9,000 RPM, sounds terrific, and gives you all the characteristics you want out of an exotic sports car.
The 7-speed, dual-clutch automatic transmission can shift in the blink of an eye. If there's traction loss at either end, the Quattro all-wheel drive system can reroute 100% of the power to either the front or rear wheels. But what you can't do in the car is shift it with a manual transmission.
As a car fan and someone who loves the art of driving, it's always disheartening to lose a manual transmission. Unfortunately, you can't help but understand why. The take rate among customers for manual transmissions is really low. People like the idea of it. Very few people actually put their money where their mouth is and buy one.
When the first-gen R8 debuted in 2006, it helped usher in a new era for the brand.
The first generation car was so popular and so successful, there's a million ways they could have screwed it up.
Whether the second-generation machine lives up to the legacy is yet to be determined.
A lot of people will complain that it doesn't look different enough, and that's the hardest part because it has to look like the old car, because everyone loved the old car, but it also has to look new. And very rarely do you do that kind of redesign and have everyone say, that's brilliant, it looks great, we love it. They didn't ruin the R8 when they made the next generation of it. In fact, not only did they not screw it up, they actually made it better. I mean, it really is a truly impressive update.
It was a lot of late nights. There was a lot of working on it. We had a good start because we had a prototype which was closely related to what we wanted to produce for a final car. So it was a lot of hard work, just working on lots of details, lots of details. It's an incredible amount of details to get a complete car together.
one of the oldest automotive marques in Italy.
Alfa Romeo predates pretty much every other major Italian manufacturer that's around today.
A brand prized by connoisseurs, but all too often forgotten by consumers.
There's an entire generation that has no idea what the hell Alfa Romeo is.
After years of struggle, one of the greatest Italian motoring icons once again tries to find glory.
When we decided to completely restart, the first question was, how?
The answer is a lightweight machine that blurs the line between what a sports car is and what a supercar can be.
We create engine art of the car, and only with the hands.
It's a stunningly beautiful, deeply flawed object of desire that every car guy and girl wants to own.
An object of desire built with a unique recipe that has the weight of an entire company and perhaps country on its shoulders. The Alfa Romeo 4C. Goes 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 4.1 seconds. Weighs under 1,000 kilograms thanks to a hypercar-style carbon fiber monocoque. And seduces the eye with outrageous Italian flair.
It's an old school kind of car, right? It's small and it's light. It's got all this personality.
The Alfa Romeo 4C. A supercar with a secret.
It's definitely the most affordable supercar. It looks twice as expensive as it is.
Starting at just over 50,000 euros, the 4C is perhaps the most accessible modern-day supercar ever built in Italy.
It's, hey, I'm just as cool as a Ferrari. I'm just as outrageous, but I'm a third of the price.
You can save your money and get a beautiful Italian car made of exotic space-age materials that goes incredibly quickly around a racetrack and turns heads everywhere you go.
Heads spin when a 4C goes by, even in northern Italy, the home of the supercar.
For us, cars are a very special thing. And we have speed in our blood. Speed is our daily bread.
Going fast isn't just a skill, but often a daily activity.
In front of a lights, the lights is red, someone look you, is a race. Because in our blood, there are the race and the Formula One. So anytime you have an old car, a scooter, or a bicycle, you have to race.
The epicenter for this need for speed is a 50-kilometer region surrounding Modena, Italy, otherwise known as La Terra dei Motori, or Motor Valley.
If you think Modena, you think the Motor Valley, the motor, Pavarotti. So your heart open to the car, to the music, and to the food.
Modena is home to Ferrari, Lamborghini, Pagani, Maserati, and now Alfa Romeo. A hand-built, high-performance machine.
It adds value to the car, the fact that it is handmade, in an artisanal way.
Craftspeople in this area aren't just workers, but believers too.
Or a guy who, builds Lamborghinis would never build a Ferrari or vice versa. It's like sports teams. You pick one because this is the company you believe in, that speaks to you, and the other ones don't.
I was obsessed from when I was a young boy. Then the ability to come here and choose which company to work for, I chose Alfa Romeo.
Every day, the heartfelt passion is put on display inside of Fiat's Modena facility, where they build both the Maserati Quattroporte and the Alfa Romeo 4C.
Quando sono arrivato qui, mi ha fatto...
I was so happy to come work here. Plants like this, which produce dream cars, and particularly Italian dream cars, are few and far between.
Over 200 craftspeople with at least 5 years of experience work inside these walls. Yet they produce just 3,500 Alfas per year.
Alfa's a lot older than people realize. But this is an old brand. It predates Ferrari. It's been around a long time.
The story starts on the 24th of June 1910, when a group of entrepreneurs buy a defunct Italian car company. They immediately rechristen it the Annomina Lombarda Fabbrica Automobili, or Alfa for short.
It was in this Milan area, which today is most famous potentially for the fashion industry.
2 years later, in 1912, the brand goes racing.
Alfa was a kind of a born winner. And its race cars have been always driven by heroes.
The outbreak of World War I changes everything. Alfa falls under the control of Nicola Romeo. From this point forward, every machine will now be called an Alfa Romeo. Yet when the war ends, it's a 22-year-old racer that pushes the brand forward.
This is where Enzo Ferrari gets his beginning. Enzo Ferrari raced for Alfa.
Enzo Ferrari's racing success leads to more wins with other drivers. And after World War II, the success continues.
Alfa Romeo was the winner of the first and second Formula One championship with Nino Farina and Manuel Fangio.
The victories inspire sports cars for the street.
So in Italy, in the 50s and 60s, Alfa Romeo was the car for the affluent sports enthusiasts.
Yet no matter how sporty Alfa gets, they can't seem to stay in the black where it counts.
The cars, the racing victories, they're really romantic, they're really great stories, but the business side has never worked out well in their favor.
By the early 80s, Alfa Romeo looks destined to fail.
The company was once again bankrupt, unfortunately.
In 1986, the Italian government sells the brand to Fiat for over 5 billion euros. Sadly, success doesn't follow.
And then they were launching beautiful cars, but cars which to a certain extent neglected the DNA of the brand, which were coming from a totally different angle towards cars.
In the late 2000s, the brand is once again fighting the odds to stay alive. Yet amazingly, it continues to engender heartfelt passion in drivers across the globe.
Alfa should have probably been dead 75 times. That's why we root for it.
To get the attention of car fans, and more importantly, customers, the brand needs a new vehicle. Something bold enough to bring back the magic and brave enough to inspire the next generation.
Well, I think that a very strong historical brand like Alfa needs to make statements.
Alfa Romeo needs to make a splash. It needs to catch people's attention. And doing that with a minivan, no. Doing that with a sedan, no. You have to do that with a sports car or supercar.
The result is the 4C, a machine that owes its existence to 2 old friends and a 20-year-old idea. For over 100 years, Alfa Romeo has built beautifully sporty machines and nearly gone out of business doing it.
A lot of automakers have looked in the past to actually buying it because there's a lot of interest in it. It's a brand that's ripe for recreation and a rebirth.
By the late 2000s, the company is once again hanging on for dear life, so the brand taps Harold Vester to lead its latest resurrection.
Harold Vester is the CEO of both Maserati and Alfa Romeo.
I grew up in the western part of Germany, close to Bonn. My father was an architect, and I should have become an architect too, and I tried, but at the end, I decided to go for my passion and dedicate totally to engineering.
Vester's love for engineering eventually lands him the plum position as Director of Development at Ferrari, where he helps create the Enzo. It is perhaps the most notable hypercar of its day.
This is a German, a very rational man who's charged with taking this brand that exists for irrational reasons and putting it back on the map.
It's no small feat to bring one of the oldest Italian marques back. So, Vester turns to longtime collaborator Lorenzo Ramaciotti.
Lorenzo is an old friend. Back in 1998, 1999, he was the chief designer at Pininfarina, a famous design house.
Ramaciotti is one of the most influential automotive designers in the world. His work ushers in the hypercar era. Yet the faster the machines go, the more he longs to create something else.
When you have 1,000 horsepower, how can you handle them? If you're not a professional driver, it's almost impossible.
Ramaciotti's recurring dream is a back-to-basics lightweight sports car based on supercar tech with a sedan-like €50,000 price tag.
I had the idea of doing a car that was small, light, and very fun to drive.
Our common dream was to create a Ferrari Enzo at an affordable price.
It takes over 20 years before the technology is cost-effective enough to use and an idle Saturday morning conversation to bring it to life.
I think it was back in 2010. We had one of the typical Saturday morning work meetings and discussions.
Well, the 4C was born like a toy project. The idea was to build a car that was still affordable while being very, very extreme.
To realize their affordable fantasy, the pair identify 4 key targets for the new machine: a 40-60 weight distribution, an advanced powertrain, a distinctive Italian design, and perhaps most challenging, a dry weight of less than 900 kilograms.
Usually, projects like this in big companies are born like submarines.
Keeping the bold idea below the radar and out of sight from company accountants falls on the shoulders of lead designer Alessandro Maccalini.
Many times when you make a production car, the box is defined. For the 4C, the briefing was different, very different.
For weeks, the stealthy group labors deep inside of the Fiat Design Center in Turin, Italy.
It's an important place because here the dream can be a real car if we are able to transform a simple dream into something more than that.
The team decides to push the affordable edge of the technological envelope and use a carbon fiber tub for the new machine.
When we start from zero, the paper was white.
We had a style meeting with the CEO, and we showed him these models, and we said, well, let's do a concept car for the Geneva show.
It's a gamble that pays off when they meet with Sergio Marchionne, the big boss of the entire Fiat empire. When the 4C is unveiled at the Geneva Auto Show, it wows both car fans and critics. Some are the very factory workers who will ultimately build the machine. Men and women whose appreciation for high-performance cars helps foster a unique artisanal culture inside the factory.
So So when I tell to my friend that says, I'm an artist, it's like a painter, no? You know, this is a part of art.
When you put a Made in Italy stamp on it, there's a pride of craftsmanship that goes back to the Roman times.
The pride in northern Italy transcends the products. What they do in this region speaks to something much greater.
The Alfa 4C say a few things about Italy. We are little, we are smart, we are fast, especially we are beautiful.
It is sort of an ambassador to the world, so it is a bit of national pride, but it's also the brand itself.
It gives me immense satisfaction. I'm proud of the work we do every day, and to be part of a company that is so important to my country.
The massive nationalistic pride and tremendous response to the concept car compels Alfa Romeo to put the 4C into production.
After we showed the car in Geneva, the comments were so positive that we immediately decided to take the car to production.
Just one small problem. Alfa has no idea if they can actually build the car.
When you make a concept, maybe you don't care about something necessary for the production car. It was an incredible challenge for the team because it was not only a problem of design, it was a problem of technology.
Part of the challenge is born from fiscal responsibility. To keep the finished machine affordable, the team needs to stay within their budget.
When you transform a concept car in a production car, you have to mix the different ingredients. You cannot expend a lot for a big power engine. It was an incredible challenge with the carbon fiber chassis inside the car.
Until now, carbon fiber monocoques only existed in ultra-exotic and expensive sports cars. Using one in a machine that's intended to be affordable soaks up most of the budget. But it also shaves weight, and weight is the enemy of high performance.
We are absolutely obsessed about weight reduction. We are constantly on a diet.
To keep the machine svelte, the team forgoes a luxury interior, heavy sound-deadening material, and even a traditional glove box.
So in every part of the car, it was important to reduce, to remove kilogram or gram to respect this data fixed from the beginning.
When they're finally below the 900 kilogram target, it's time to face the next major challenge: wind.
For me, it's very important is because the wind of tunnel is the moment where you check your work.
To conquer what you can't see, the team takes the prototype to the Fiat Research and Development Center, located in Orbisano, Italy.
We are here in the aerodynamic and acoustic wind tunnel.
Built in 1975, the massive wind tunnel has continually been updated to stay at the forefront of aerodynamics.
Imagine you have a turbine which generates a stream of wind up to speeds of over 250 kilometers per hour.
At top speed, the tunnel uses 2 megawatts of electricity. That's enough energy to power over 1,300 average homes. Amazingly, they need all that power to identify mere millimeters of potential alterations.
We discuss about 3 or 4 millimeters. Sometimes millimeters can change completely the performance in terms of lift and drag.
Drag is the amount of air resistance an object faces while in motion. The lower it gets, the more fuel-efficient a machine becomes, and the faster it can go.
With styling people, typically, is a very bloody discussion because they do like a lot this kind of body shape. but we don't.
Aerodynamicists try to find an optimal balance between the design department's sexy shape and the engineering team's technical requirements.
So we try a compromise with them, from styling people from one side and from aerodynamic people from the other one, particularly on the rear side. At the beginning, I remember that they would like completely a rounded shape, but it's not aerodynamic. So we managed together with them the correct curve.
The team turns their collective attention to tuning the rear spoiler.
And you can see here one point, very important for the drag and for the lift too, is the tuning of this side of the rear back.
If you start to mount wings on your cars, you haven't spent enough hours in the wind tunnel.
Getting the height of the spoiler right is a critical step to ensure that the car stays on the ground at high speed.
We are looking for downforce, which gives you a totally stable driving and handling also at high speeds. It's the magic hand which pushes the car on the road.
Downforce keeps the car on the ground, but it's the multi-generational workforce that helps keep Alfa planted.
Many of the people, they are in the third or the fourth generation working for Alfa Romeo.
Giuseppe is an artist, as one of our most experienced workers. 14 years in Alfa Romeo, and also he drives old Alfa Romeo. So your son works in Alfa Romeo, right? In Cassino. All the family work in Alfa Romeo.
Lavoro in Alfa Romeo da 38 anni e sono orgoglioso di far parte.
I work at Alfa Romeo for 38 years, and I am proud to be part of this company, Alfa. That is an historic brand for Italy.
People that come here for work, first love the car, second love the mechanics. When they stay home, they work about their car. They have all Alfa Romeo car, especially the old Alfa Romeo, tuning and fixing anytime. They try to tuning the Alfa Romeo at home.
They really do believe in the product and the brand. I don't think they even have to tell them wear the company logo every day. They would do it gladly because they love these companies.
Pride and honor echo the affection for the machine. But building a new supercar is often a risky proposition. The future for both the brand and its workers is on the line.
So when you bring into production a concept car is always a fantastic bet.
If the bet pays off, the passion for Alfa Romeo will reignite. If it fails, one of the most storied car companies will crash and burn for good. And the deciding factor could be as simple as carbon. For over 50 years, Ferrari and Lamborghini have battled for Italian supercar supremacy on the world stage. One is a mecca for Formula One, the other is known for extreme machines. What they both share is a liberal use of carbon fiber.
That is really at the top edge of the technology. It's something you can find in an Indy car or in a Formula One race car.
Now, Alfa Romeo, the third oldest Italian automaker, is hinging its latest renaissance on the very same elemental technology.
It absolutely is an automotive trickle-down. You know, Ferrari has been developing carbon fiber for a long time, but those cars start at $250,000.
Sure, today, carbon fiber is a material that gives you the higher strength related to the weight. It's used in aircraft, it's used in racing cars. It's almost indestructible.
Even though the cost of carbon fiber has come down, using it as a structural component in a modern sports car is still a very time-consuming process.
Making a carbon fiber tub is very complicated because it's done by hand.
Carbon fiber could be the material in the future. Right now, this is a very labor-intensive process.
To manufacture the 4C's carbon fiber chassis, Alfa turns to the Adler Group in southern Italy, where the state-of-the-art tub begins as a pile of 40 carbon fiber sheets.
It starts with fabric. You can imagine like braiding, no? Like your grandmother does at home. It's a little bit more high-tech, but at the end of the day, it's like this. And then you cut parts and pieces of it.
Craftspeople trim predefined patterns using an air cutting table. The rough pieces are then hand-glued onto a mold using a resin that's vacuum sealed into place. Next, the entire tub is put into an autoclave, which is essentially a large oven, and baked for over 4 hours to set the glue.
At the end of the day, it's coming out of the oven. It looks like one piece, but it consists of many, many layers of carbon fiber.
The finished tub weighs just 65 kilograms.
Carbon fiber is a really interesting material. The reason why you see it only in really expensive cars is because they spend a lot of time making sure it's as lightweight as it can be, but also as strong as it can be. The fact that you can get it in a car that costs less than 100 grand is nothing short of a miracle.
Workers check the tub for defects before shipping it to Fiat's Modena facility, where they start to assemble the body by hand.
People have sort of an image of what an Italian factory ought to be like, based on maybe old movies or old stereotypes. These days, you can't really turn out a poor quality product anymore. So an Italian factory really isn't that different than any other automotive factory around the world.
So on the line of this car, you will not see robots. This is all handmade. That's also one thing that makes it special.
Freshly made carbon fiber tubs enter the facility at Station 1 on the body in white line. Here, 16 craftspeople will build up the exterior using a mixture of materials.
We assemble carbon fiber, aluminium, and plastic. SMC is a special sort of plastic and composite.
SMC, or sheet molding compound, is a kind of fiberglass that's 20% lighter than aluminium.
They use this material for the NASA, you know, the space shuttle.
They swing the tub onto a reference pallet, which ensures dimensional accuracy throughout the build.
In this area, the front frame with the monocoque and the back frame with the carbon fiber monocoque.
The crash structures are the first of over 136 parts needed to build up the body. Each one is installed by an artisanal craftsperson with years of experience.
I'm almost 60. I did all the manufacturing to produce the vehicle, starting with the welding first, but everything was manual. Now, things are different.
Instead of using traditional welding methods, the assembly team uses an advanced polymeric glue that sets in just 7 minutes. At Station 2, they install the side skirt, roll bar, and bulkhead.
You can see the first process was the rocker, which was glued to. Now people are putting on the doors on the hinges. We fine-tune all the gaps and steps until we have the perfect quality.
Next comes the windscreen frame and roof. Finally, the doors are added. At this stage, most of the large pieces have been set in place. But when you're building a sports car with supercar technology, it's the little details that matter.
It's absolutely a delicate stage because the car have to go out for the painting. So if you make wrong something here, the car arrive with a wrong profile. We control the profile thanks this. So the profile have to respect 0.5 millimeter. So our workers is able to control all the profile with this machine.
If they control that is 2 millimeter or 1.5 millimeter, they can move, they're able to move and respect the perfect profile.
It's a very manual way of building a body that adds a touch of individuality to each machine.
I remember once I visited a famous shop who produces violins. They look all the same, they seem to be the same wood is used, but each and every is unique, and it's true also for this car.
The amount of handwork required to build the body is extremely time-consuming. Each day, they produce just 18 units.
This is not a process that you can really make industrial in a big way.
It's hand-built, it's hand-done, and that limits the amount of cars that Alfa Romeo can build. They just don't have the capacity to build more.
At Station 9, craftspeople inspect the car by rubbing on an alcohol-based contrast fluid. This helps highlight any defects or blemishes.
This is the final station of the body white of the Alfa 4C. So in this station, we control the profile, we control if all the assembly is okay. We wash with a special additive, and now the car is ready for the painting.
Every day, at a random interval, the team selects one very special body to go through an additional step. Inside of the metrology lab, they digitally scan over 400 verification points to double-check that the panels fit perfectly. After a stamp of approval, sub-assembled bodies are then sent off-site for a splash of color. Once again, the 4C's quest for lightness makes things just a little bit more difficult than the average car.
This is plastic, so it cannot be painted in a traditional painting facility for high-volume cars. This car is painted like a specialty car. They're painted one by one in a specific facility outside the plant.
Great paint starts with great prep. 11 team members spend 3 hours using over 200 meters of tape to mask the bare carbon fiber.
To paint the body for the Alfa Romeo 4C, we need about 8 kilograms of paint for the base coat and about 8 kilograms for the transparent gloss, which means about 16 kilograms of paint for each body painted.
The operators spend 20 minutes applying the first coat. Then it's time for a pair of robots to get in on the action. They take just 11 minutes to paint the remaining 85% of the car. Finally, after more than 40 hours of manual labor spread over 6 full days, a body is ready to return to Modena and enter the final assembly line, where over 200 craftspeople will bring a 4C to life and hopefully help rejuvenate one of the icons of Italian motoring. Alfa Romeo is one of Italy's oldest car companies, and perhaps it's most revered inside of Fiat's Modena factory.
I am Italian, I know that Alfa is part of the history of our nation. I work on a very ambitious project, both for the brand and for the country, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
When I think to Alfa Romeo, I think about the race. I think about fast car. I think about the red that go away on the street.
The brand's latest reboot comes down to the success of their new halo car, the 4C.
It's beautiful, and it's fast, and it's unique. It's a desirable thing. It's a luxury good.
Look at that car, listen to it. It's a feast for your senses. There's certainly a sort of sexy appeal of having a car that's built in Italy.
This is not an ordinary car factory. This is a high-tech assembly shop. Usually the car stops for 20, 30, 40 minutes, and people are executing very complex tasks.
That sexy appeal is infused at a factory where they've been handcrafting cars for over 3/4 of a century.
Producing vehicles is always something that will make you happy. Producing a car like this one, you can imagine, it is even more satisfying.
The factory's gone through a lot throughout the years, yet they've never lost their love for turning dreams into driveway realities.
Parlo sempre per me, che quando vedo una 4C fuori finita, il percorso là.
Speaking for myself, when I see a 4C outside, completed on the road out there, I say to myself, there is my work.
Io come operaio
As a worker, I am so proud to have a part in completing this vehicle.
ho contribuito a produrre questa nuova vettura.
It's taken over a week for the 4C's bare body to be painted. Yet when it returns to the line, little time is spent admiring the beauty. The first order of business is to remove all the colourful bits.
Nella prima stazione la vettura viene completamente spogliata.
At the first station, the vehicle is completely stripped in order to provide access for the installation of the components, but this also protects the components from damage during assembly.
Dovuti all'assemblaggio.
The vehicle is hoisted onto the line and turned onto its side using a C-hook.
In this special station, we have a big hook that moves the car in this way. So our workers can move inside the car and under the body of the car.
Craftspeople don't have to reach for parts thanks to Alfa's simplified logistics system.
We create a Dominio kit that our logistics bring directly to our workers. Our workers not have to work, but only turn, take a screwdriver and the other part of the car and make only this movement.
While a pair of workers install the oil and brake lines, across the aisle, craftspeople prep the 4C's 1.7-litre turbocharged engine on a sub-assembly station.
This is the area where the motors arrive, and they are connected to the other components before being installed in the vehicle.
The brand new engines are mated to the 4C's paddle-driven double-clutch transmission and kitted out.
Yes, actually born in Modena, and I'm extremely proud to make Alfas here in Modena. Most of all, since Modena is the land of motors, it had to produce a supercar like the Alfa 4C.
True moto passion is put on display just a few meters down the line. In Motor Valley, there is perhaps no more important factory location than the engine install.
Allora, qui siamo alla stazione 4C.
Here we are at Station 4, and this is where we connect the motor.
Senza dubbio la stazione più complessa.
Without a doubt, the station that is the most complex of the entire assembly line is the motor station, where you will see the engine being installed inside the body.
In a land full of high-performance passion, this is everyone's favorite spot.
Come tu sai, siamo a Modena, nella terra dei motori.
As you know, we are in Modena, the land of motors. We produce this vehicle here with so much passion, a vehicle that will reach every corner of the world, so we are very proud of this.
When the car moves to the next station, the dashboard arrives from its sub-assembly area.
Here we are at the dashboard preparation station, a fundamental part of the vehicle. This team is primarily female, the dashboard team, because women are more meticulous, precise, since it is a component found in the interior of the car and it makes a first impression on the customer. It needs to be perfect.
Every 25 minutes, the team sends recently completed dashboards to the final line.
Okay, in this station, we prepare the part for insert the dashboard. So we attack the last cable for put the dashboard inside.
The engine makes 237 horsepower, yet it's the car's airbag that might go boom. Keeping everyone alert to the danger comes down to a very simple solution.
Inside, there are things that can explode. So we use the military box. Remember to our workers that can explode.
A cycle later, it's time to install the car's suspension. This includes the front brakes, primarily made from aluminium, which helps save 2 more kilograms of weight.
Right now, I am mounting the front suspension of the 4C.
The team uses high-tech torque wrenches to ensure that the mounting tolerances are exact. The 4C uses glass just 4 millimeters thick. That shaves 15% off the weight of a normal windshield.
Posizionato il parabrezza in modo da centrarlo.
We have positioned the windshield in order to center it, to make sure it is centered on the body.
Con la stop.
Then it's time to reinstall the colorful trim pieces taken off earlier.
Qui assembliamo praticamente la maggior parte della vettura.
Here we assemble most of the vehicle, really. Fenders, bumpers, doors, all the finishing touches.
Parte finale.
They use a special RGV, or robot-guided vehicle, to bring the doors to the line. It's the only automated system in the factory, and the only tool with its own nickname.
We call it our RGV, our robot, Emilio, because it's an automatic robot that bring the doors and other things during the assembly line.
Installing the doors requires absolute precision.
Inserting the connector is the most difficult. Inserting the connector from the door to the body, because sometimes there may be obstacles.
The car is nearly complete. I think we have another 1 or 2 stations, another hour.
When the 4C rolls off the final assembly line, it looks finished. Yet its journey to a dealership has just begun. Each brand new 4C takes a 40-kilometer road test. When a freshly tested machine comes back to the factory, it heads to the finishing area.
When the vehicle comes in here, it has already gone through all of its assembly and also a road test.
The machines are reviewed by independent auditors. Then each car hits a rolling road before taking a quick shower in the water test booth.
We have at least 100 people that touch the product before it leaves our doors. It's a rather complex vehicle. Even though it's small in size, it is very particular in the details. One of the challenges with this vehicle is there are exposed portions that wouldn't normally be aesthetic to other vehicles. So we have to pay close attention to these aspects of the car.
Finally, after weeks of passionate, hand-built craftsmanship, a finished 4C is ready to head to customers around the world.
4C matters because this is the return of Alfa Romeo, this triumphant brand that's been around for all these years that we haven't seen in so long. And here it is. Look at it. That's why it matters. Look at it.
Some of those new machines might even find their way to America, where the brand hasn't sold cars for over 20 years.
It's a big deal to everyone who's grown up hearing about those great Alfa Romeo sports cars of the past.
At its core, the 4C is a throwback to sports cars from a different era.
Classically, a sports car was a toy. It was something you drove just to have fun. It was something that existed just to be exciting.
It's very clear from the second you get in a 4C, this is not a car that's trying to be all things to all people.
Today's sports cars are way more focused on performance, on lap times and quarter-mile speeds and all this stuff. The 4C is more of an old-school approach to the sports car.
This is clearly not a car that you want to drive your kids to school with because they don't fit. And if they did, they'd be miserable.
This is absolutely a less is more car, because the less weight you have to carry around, the faster you can go, the quicker you can corner, the more nimble the car is.
Alfa's fanatical obsession with weight reduction pays off on the track. Fully fueled, the machine's wet weight is just 1,202 kilograms. That's 138 kilos lighter than a Porsche Cayman, and gives the 4C a power-to-weight ratio of 1 horsepower to every 5 kilograms.
If you think about what the definition of a supercar used to be in the 80s, everyone had to have a Testarossa or a Countach. They were loud and uncomfortable, and the interiors weren't great, but they made beautiful noises, and they were really fast, and they looked amazing. And this is the first time you can really reach out and grab it if you have the means.
The 4C charges from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 4.1 seconds and has a top speed of 258 kilometers per hour.
200 and something horsepower is a lot when the car doesn't weigh a lot, and that's the point of that carbon monocoque. The car's light, doesn't need a big engine, doesn't need to be super horsepower-y to get the speed.
Speed is only one part of the attraction. So is the machine's surprisingly gutsy sound.
Alfa just played the oldest trick in the book. It doesn't have a muffler, like none, zero.
A muffler isn't the only part of the 4C experience that's missing.
Its interior is basically stripped out from everything that it doesn't need.
Stripping out the non-essentials even includes a manual transmission.
Why no manual transmission? Alfa Romeo's official answer is they would like to think of this car as closer to Formula One, which uses paddle-shifted automatic transmissions. Frankly, it's the biggest flaw on this car. This car with a naturally aspirated engine and a manual transmission would be the best supercar in the world.
The lack of creature comforts is the clearest example of Alfa's unyielding desire to shave extra weight and cost from the machine.
Rationally, you can get into a 4C and say, wow, this is like a play school version of my first Ferrari.
The 4C makes the Italian exotic car approachable and attainable for a lot more people.
It's an Italian calling card, best enjoyed in the corners.
Driving this car on a mountain road will make you smile like crazy.
It has fantastic steering. It has great bucket seats that hug you in. And Every time you get in it, you want to go find the twistiest, curviest road you can.
Driving a 4C is easy compared to figuring out how the brand keeps them affordable.
I don't know how Alfa Romeo is building this car and selling it at the price it is without losing huge amounts of money. But look, marketing costs money. You can buy billboards, you can buy TV advertisements, or you can build a car that everyone looks at, everyone wants, and you lose some money on it.
Years of fits and starts and half-baked resurrections have left the mark with minimal market share.
Alfa Romeo doesn't want to be a niche brand. They want to sell sedans here. They want to sell family cars.
The goal of the 4C is to reshape the future of Alfa Romeo.
The 4C is meant to be the halo of the brand. Hey, look, this is what Alfa Romeo is. It's sexy, it's sporty, it sounds exciting.
If you talk to car company executives, they will all say the same thing. We can only survive if we sell 8 billion cars a day. Wrong. Alfa has never sold in volume.
Like an old vine stressed into producing great wine, sometimes it's the struggle that brings out the very best.
What I find most exciting about the 4C is that it exists. I mean, cars aren't made like this anymore. It's something that feels like it was almost snuck past the bean counter.
For over 110 years, Alfa Romeo has fought to stay alive and to stay relevant. Their latest renaissance is the direct result of 2 men and a shared dream.
I don't think there's going to be another generation of the 4C. I think what you see now is probably what you're going to get. Alfa could always surprise us and bring out a new one and improve it, but I think they have some bigger fish to fry.
A €50,000 fantasy whose success or failure is now up to customers around the world.
We tried to do something that was different from what you can find out there, and that was bringing this kind of uniqueness and performance to a much wider audience. The pleasure of driving is not in the 0 from 100 time. It's something more complex. The numbers are there just to be seen on a magazine, but then you have to feel, and that's not easy to express with a figure. There's something that you must feel personally.